say. Yeah, the snow this weekend has been a great packing snow. That's one of the.
Stand right next to it. Are you gonna go that way? Okay, because the sun. Okay.
I hope not. Wait, go right over here. How you guys doing?
Pretty well. Can you give us any preview about the state of the state? Are you going to address property taxes?
Well, let me put it in this context. What you've just seen and heard inside is how you create economic engines and economic vitality that they bring back and revitalize the economy of New York State. What are the inputs? What are the investments? What is the new strategic thinking we need to embrace? And this is example 1A of how you do it. And it means good education, it means keeping costs low, it means energy that you can afford, it means investing in intellectual capital. Obviously, just a few weeks ago, the Higher Ed Commission report came out, and that is something that I asked for some very smart people to think about, because it seems to me to be a blueprint for where we go in terms of economic revitalization. That clearly is going to be something I talk about in the state of the state.
Governor, this facility and facilities like it cost an awful lot of money. Where are we going to get the money to make the investments in the higher education that we want to do?
Something I will address on Wednesday. But as I said inside, we need to understand that the failure to invest in this infrastructure will doom ourselves long term. If you do not build the best higher educational system, if you do not invest in the intellectual foundation for the future economy, then we will dissipate. Stated affirmatively, if we make those investments, we will prosper as New York has prospered historically. This is akin to building the Erie Canal. This is akin to building the best air system, the subways. We must build the best higher educational system. Without it, we will not do well.
Are you going to support it? Are you going to support?
Also, say, lowering school taxes?
Though that is the balance that you strike, and I have said repeatedly, and last year we put in place $1.3 billion STAR package that was I believe the largest in history. I think people have observed that it does not appear to be solving the problem in its entirety, and I think we need to be very conscious of that. You both need to invest, but you need to be affordable. I said inside, you balance those competing desires, and obviously getting that point of equilibrium is the smart point.
Are you going to support a SUNY tuition increase?
Oh gosh, I think Hillary has run, will continue to run a great campaign. As I said after Iowa, that was the first pitch in a 9-inning game, and I think tomorrow will be maybe the end of the first inning, but there are still 9 innings in this process. And this is democracy. This is people looking, asking, listening. This is a long-term campaign, and I have every confidence in Hillary.
So you're planning to create a fund that would
I'll get into more of this later in the week.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
I think Wednesday I'll be laying this out.
Governor, what about a SUNY tuition hike, Governor? Are you going to support a SUNY tuition hike?
That is, again, something that will be examined partially in the state of the state, but more precisely in the budget. Obviously, that's where the numbers really have to add up. And we've been struggling with these numbers. One of the things that I made very clear, or I should restate that the Commission made clear in its report on higher ed, is that we need multiple funding streams, but we also need affordable higher education. Access to higher education is critically important, and what we are looking to do is make sure that everybody in the state of New York can get access to a higher ed system that will give them the tools they need to compete, so that the great companies that migrate here because they see the intellectual capital will get the workforce they need. And if you price yourselves out, then you're failing. So obviously we're hesitant to raise tuition to a level that, or raise it at all, if we can afford doing so.
Governor,
last question.
$4 billion budget deficit. Where are you going to get the money to pay for this higher ed investment, the investment in P through 16?
Well, one of the things that I think people saw last year was that we put together a budget. We had a deficit last year that we inherited. It wasn't of the order of magnitude of the 4.3, 4.5 we're looking at right now, but similar construct where we needed to make smart investments without which we would not succeed long term, and therefore find some areas where we could be more efficient. We did that last year. We made some very tough choices in healthcare, but they worked. The Medicaid decisions we made last year, I think, have been successful, have begun a transformation that will not only produce better quality care, but also produce quality at a price we can afford. And so the same general construct where we are examining every element of the state budget, everything that was taken as a given for 10 or 15 years is open to challenge. Personnel services, non-personnel services, the investments that we must make for the future are what we hold sacred, and that means higher ed, that means some of the educational investments that will drive our economy as we go forward. So these are the triage choices that you make when you put a budget together. We believe we're making the right ones. Obviously, we will work with our colleagues in the legislature once I propose my budget on the 22nd to make sure that we're at a point where people have a consensus.
Thank you, Governor.
What about
guys.
a cap on property taxes? Is that something you
These are things that I'll be talking about or not on Wednesday.
Can Lloyd do this?
No, he's out of the country. He's out of the country. Wednesday. Sorry, Dan.
Did that 4.3 billion
Again, we won't know what the precise number is until later in the fiscal year. Obviously, you look at projections, and we've gotten pretty good at meeting there's a split between cash and stock and how those bonuses are paid. The state, to be very particular about it, doesn't get withholding on bonuses that are paid in stock, and so if the investment banks give a higher percentage of the bonuses in stock, not cash, we get less revenue. So these are the things that we won't know until a bit later precisely what the magnitude of the deficit is, but it's something in the range of 4.3 to 4.5 is what we've been looking at. All right, guys, thank you so very much.
Next one up for the action.